Hello, fams. Welcome back to the channel, and I'm so happy to have you all here. So, in today's video, I'll be teaching you how to do a simple explore screen on Figma. As you can see, I'm going to be recreating this design, and also talking about UI UX design. What to know, get started as a UI UX designer, things you should know about UI UX design. So, it's going to be like a two-in-one video, and if you want to learn any of this, then you sure want to watch this video till the end.
Loving everything I forgot.
So let me start with get started as a UI UX designer. Like, and when I got started, there's always this talk of Figma this, Figma that. Most people have likened UI UX design to Figma, and trust me, that's not it. Figma is just a software you can use in your design. But if you can also use other softwares like Adobe XD and the rest. So while I'm trying to teach you how to do this explore screen, I'll also be teaching you how to navigate through your Figma. If this is your first time using Figma, if you're probably, lost when it comes to Figma. I'm also going to be teaching you how to navigate through on Figma. So when you open your Figma file, it comes like this, like a plain artboard like this. Forget what you have there. That is how it comes. So now I want to create a simple explore screen on Figma. Very easy. So the first thing you do, you have to come up here. Just follow my cursor where you have region tools. You click on the drop down icon. You go to frame. Now when you click on frame, all the frames available on Figma loads up by your right here. All the frames you have phone frame, you have tablet, you have desktop, presentation, watch, paper, social media, Figma community, and archive. But since I want to design an iOS screen, I'm just going to go for my phone. So on phone, you still have various frame sizes for phone. That's the beauty of it. You have iPhone and you also have Android. But I want to work with iPhone, so I'm just going to use I used iPhone 13 mini for the previous one. So I'm going to just so when you just click on iPhone 13 mini, just click on it. It pops up. There's no much stress. So now this is the frame I'm working with, iPhone 13 mini. So when designing, you should always look for you to have like lay out your grid, have a design system you're working with, have your images laid out already. I've done that. I'm going to show you all, but have your images out. Know what you're trying to. Don't say you're just coming to design. You should know what you're trying to create at least. So now this is my frame. Next thing I'm going to do to this frame is I'm going to add a grid. Always work with grid. See, grids make your work well aligned. That's what will make you stand out from a newbie designer, I think. Yeah. So always work with your grid. Your grid just gives you this alignment. So I'm going to click on my frame. When I click my frame, I come to the right. I see this layout grid. I click on it, layout grid, and I see this grid 10 pixel. You have layout grid set, and you click on that layout grid set. When you click on it, then this pops up. Now I want to have my column grid first. So I'm going to click on this down icon beside the grid. When I click on that, I go see columns. You have columns and rows, but I want columns first. So I click on my columns. Now, when you're working with iOS, and the bit about UI UX design is that there's not really there are rules to design, but that it's quite flexible. It's not so rigid. Depending on what you're trying to create determines what you're going to be working with. But when it comes to iPhone or when it comes to mobile designs, you're advised to use a grid count of 4. So I'm just going to click on 4 here. Just leave my red. Type should be stretched. Now margin. So I'm going to work with 20 pixel grid for this design. So I just click on my 20. Then you leave your gutter. Gutter is always 20. Always 20. So I think my next video I'll talk about how to for website because I think I've talking about mobile for a long time. So gutter is 20. I'm going to tell you the difference in grid system for various screens. So gutter is 20. If I had to design for desktop, I would have used my grid count of 12 for desktop. My margin for desktop could be around 100 to 120 pixels, while my gutter will still be 20. Enter. So now I have my grid. I have my grid already. You can see it. Alignment ish. Next thing I might want to introduce my row grid just to make sure that my work is well placed. Some persons do without it, but I'm just going to introduce it here. So I'm going to click on this. Now time I'm going to choose rows. I go to row. Now for my row grid, I love to use 1000. My count is always 1000. Now you're going to go from stretch to top because I'm trying to create a responsive grid system. So I'm going to go from stretch to top. My height should be 8. My height should be 8 because I'm working with that's another thing when it comes to design. When it comes to design, you're advised to use height difference of 8 or you use height difference of 16. But most times, or you can work with 4, work with 8, work with 16. But I use 8 because 8 is like the more standard height distance to use when designing. So your height should be 8. When it comes to responsive designs, 8 is like a more response. So when you're using 8, now it means that all through your design should be work. Your spacing should be in that, multiples of 8. That's what it means. So I'm just working my height of 8, and my gutter would be 0. Then I go on enter, and this is it. So now I have my column and my grid here. That is looking like a lot of things. There is nothing here. So now this is my grid system. That's the first thing I do. So now I've gotten my grid. Now I'm trying to recreate this design because of, I'm getting quite requests from people. Next, now I want to bring in my status bar. Now for your status bar, there are actually a lot of places you could, I've actually designed this myself already, and I did what it's in two forms where I can actually move from dark mode to white mode. Now it's in the dark mode. If I come here, this toggle button, if I click on it, it goes to white. If I go the other way, it goes to dark mode. So that's the toggle button I created before now. But I'm not really going to, go down that path now. So this is just my status bar, which I've created before now. I'm going to pick it from here and use. Now, if peradventure you want to, create it yourself, I would always advise you go to the iOS icon kit, what they call iOS icon kit on your Figma community. So you go there and you pick, because when it comes to iOS design, that's the difference between iOS and Android. They are like, the icons are quite different. There's some icons that will not pass in iOS that will pass for Android. So do not mix it up. Do not mix your iOS icons to your Android icons. They're different. So I have an iOS UI kit I work with, where I go to pick icons for iOS. That's why especially when it comes to status bar icons. So you can just go to your Figma community and, just search for iOS UI kit. Pops up, you just get your iOS design there. So I'm just going to pick this because I don't want us to waste so much time. But aside from this, I'm going to show you every other. I'm going to design every other thing here aside from the status bar. So I'm just going to drag this. So I'm just going to click. If you're using Windows, you use your Alt and drag. While you're using Mac, you use Options and drag. So I'm just going to use my Alt and drag this here and place it well. So you can zoom into this. This is in white, so I'm going to toggle it back to dark mode so you can see it. So I've toggled it back. You can see how beautiful toggle is. So I've toggled it back. Make sure it's well aligned, and that is it. I'm done with my status bar. Now remember, this was done in dark mode. So first of all, let me change this to dark mode first. So I'm just going to click on this frame and change it to dark mode. Color selections already, and that's something I'm going to be working with. So I'll just come to trying to fill this container. I'll come to my fill here. You see this tile, click on it, and I go to my base color. So I have my base color. So my status bar, I have to change it to toggle it back to white. So this is, so the first thing I'm supposed to have done is to, put my base color. That was what I was trying to achieve. So this is my base color. Then the next thing is my status bar, white. So now the next thing, what do you have here? This is actually a very simple design. Like, I know when I posted it, people were like, wow, how did you do this? This is actually very simple. Like, it is super easy. The next thing now, I'm going to, try to create this. So if you look, I'm going to go from top to bottom so you get the flow. So yeah, you have like a back icon and you have this text, hip hop. So like I said, I'm going to show you guys how I got every single icon here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I got this back icon button. So I think I got this from Icon Scouts. Like, I did this design very fast. Like I said, always remember to use your iOS icon UI kit. It's better. That way you tend to stay consistent for designs. But of course, this is just like a very rough sample. I'm just trying to show you. So of course, I'm also trying to show you how to use plugins because of the questions I've been getting, and that's why I'm just going to be working with a lot of plugins here. So for this, I used Icon Scout. So I just click on my Icon Scout. It loads up because I already installed this plugin before now. That's why it's in my plugin list. No matter, you'd have gone to find more plugins to get it. So when it loads up, I'll just type back. It's that easy. Type back, enter. When you type your back and enter, you see different back icons. So I just pick the one that, the one I want to work with. So I click on this particular one I want. I'll just click on it. You said SVG. I'm like, yes, insert. So insert, it loads up, then you go on cancel, you just cancel it. So this is it. I'm just going to drag it to the file, to the screen I'm working on, that particular artboard I'm working on. So this is it. Next thing, quickly change it to white. So I'm just going to come to my selection colors, click on this style, then I click on my white. Now I've been able to create my color style before now. That's something that I make you stand out as a designer. Try to create your color styles before design. I think by the end of this video, I'm going to show you how I was able to create this so you'll be able to do it yourself. So I'm going to click on primary color because I wanted this to be my primary color and this is it. So now when it comes to actually alignment, I'm going to make sure this is at the edge of my columns here so that I know all my works, that's like the limit is going to be. So I'm going to make sure that is there. The next thing I have here is I have hip hop, hip hop. So I'm just going to now go to my text. So I've done this. Now let's look at the size of this 24. That's okay. When it comes to icon, 24 is like a reasonable size to work with. So I'm going to just go to my text, click on my text and write. So just click here, go to your text, pick out your text, and write what you want to write there, hip hop. So this is my hip hop. That's what was written there. So I'm going to change this to white, fill, go to fill, change it to white. Then you change it to white, you bring it into your screen. And that's how I love to work most. So I bring it to my screen. The next thing I'm going to apply, and I'm going to apply auto layout to the both of these. But try and give this, since it's like a major text, just make it like a medium size, give it a bit of a width. Yeah, like what we have there. So I'm going to click on this back icon and click on hip hop at the same time. So now use your shifts. So I'll click on back, go to my shift, click on shift on your keyboard, and click on hip hop. Get this? Then you right click on your mouse and this pops out. You go to add auto layout. So your auto layout, and I'm going to give me this 8. That's the distance between the back icon and hip hop. I'm going to make it 8. So I go on enter. Let's just check to know if that's what we have here because like I said, I'm trying to recreate this for you all. So I'm just going to check. So like I was saying, this design, there are a lot of things wrong in this, and I'm also going to correct. Like here, I said I didn't use my auto layout here. It's not to say that you cannot not decide not to use auto layout, but this auto layout just makes your work more sleek. You get what I mean? Yeah, gives your work more flair. So that's for that. So next thing I'm going to work on the cards. I'm going to be very fast at this point now. I'm going to work on this card now. So I'm just going to check the size I use for the card. So I used 163 by 156. Now to determine the size for your card, now that's where your grid system comes into play. You have to consider a lot of things. You have to make sure that your card is in between two columns. You cannot have a card like this, for example. Let me just show you what I mean. I'm going to come to my rectangle, yes. Now I'm going to draw my rectangle. Draw it, just drag your mouse to fill this. Now you cannot have a card somewhere here and say this one card is rubbish, it doesn't make sense. Make sure that if whenever you're working with column grid, your card should not be at the edge of the column grid you're working with. So I'm just going to drag this and make sure this comes to this end. That is something I have to do. Then from here, I'm going to click on my shift and alt. If you're using your Mac, shift and option. So shift and alt there to replicate this. So see it now. This is what they call this is like a better design. This is where you're utilizing your grid system. Now, but based off on the number of cards I want to work with, I think I'm just going to check the height I used here, 156. So I used 156 here. So I'm going to also going to make this 156. So this is 156. Enter. This one too should be 156. That's for that. So I'm going to replicate these cards now. I'm just going to check the distance I use. So to check your distance, you just click on the card you want, then click on Alt to check the distance between these two spaces. So remember I told you that when it comes to distance, always work in multiples of 8 because my rows were multiples of 8. Now this way you also have to use your rule to when designing now. You see where this card is now? This is nowhere. You zoom in where you can see where my rows are. So I want to make sure that this is on a particular row so that it's in the distance or the height distance between two different items or two different texts should be in multiples of 8. So I'm just going to move this. I'm just going to move this up a bit. Yeah, that's okay. Then so that means I'm going to be having so now I cannot duplicate this. So to duplicate this, don't even stress yourself. Just click on it as it like that. You go to your shift and alt. Click on your shift and alt, then drag your mouse down. Remember, it should be multiples of 8. So I'm just going to ensure that this is in multiples of 8. So I have 16. Shift and alt, drag it. Shift and alt, drag it. I have 16. Shift and alt, drag it. I have 16. So how many do I have now? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to come here and check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now the same time, go to my cards. You can see how this is looking like. See, this is starting to look beautiful. And the next thing is I'm going to put the image here. Now this is like the easy part, and I use Max to input my image. So I'm going to show you the images I use. These are the images I use. I already put them, so I'm just going to bring them down because I didn't want to start going back and forth. Although if you're probably wondering where I got this image from, I got all this image from Unsplash. Unsplash is a plugin on Figma because I know it's going to take me time to go and start searching it on Splash. Let me just show you what Unsplash is. You go to your plugin, you come here, and this is Unsplash. So most times I get my images from Unsplash because on Unsplash you can get a variety of images in high quality because please when you're designing, always pay attention to the quality of your image. That's also where designers get it wrong. Your images should be in high quality. So on Unsplash, you can get images in high quality. I can just come here and search for music, for example. Music, enter. So you just see different, musical stuff. You can see this. You click on it, it loads up. That easy. But I already got this down because I don't want to go back and forth because of our time. So I'm just going to start working on this now. First thing I have here is a lady, that particular image. So I'm just going to click on that particular image. So I'm just going to come here and go to that particular image. This is it here. I'm just going to drag it here and drag here. So now I'm trying to mask this. I'm trying to put this image inside that rectangle like mask. I'm trying to create a mask. So to create a mask, make sure that the image you're working on should be on top of the rectangle you're trying to create a mask. Make sure the image is on top of the rectangle. Then you can now mask it into the rectangle. So my image is on top of my rectangle. I'm going to mask this into this rectangle. So very easy. Just click on that image, click on it, you click on, go to shift, just press shift on your keyboard and click on the rectangle. Then you come up here and there you have use as marks. You just click on that, then it just goes in. The next thing you do is click on the image and drag it up till it fills the frame. To fill that container, that's the rectangle, it fills the rectangle. Just make sure you do that. Then show the part you want to be more visible, just move it around that and just play just play around that until you get what you want, and gives you this, and that is it. You're done with that. So the next thing, let's there, that's like the aim. So I'll come here, I'll drag this the same way, make sure it's on that rectangle, the same with the same pattern. So I click on shift, click on the rectangle, go to your marks, then you marks it in. So you're just going to do that same thing like all through. Guys, so I have, let me remove these grids so you can see it. I want to move this grid so people can see what we have here. Is this not beautiful? Is this not beautiful? So next thing I'm going to come and put in, see this play icon here. I'm going to try and I'm going to put in those play icons. So to get the play icon, I'm just going to come down here. To get the play icon, I'm going to come down here. So I used Iconly. I'll go to my plugins, go straight to where I have Iconly, this Iconly, because it's already installed. That's why it's there. If it's not installed, you have to go and find more plugin. So this is my Iconly. I'm going to go to light because I want to use light. So just look for the play icon. This is the play icon. I'm just going to click on it. Click on the play icon. Here we go. And you can cancel this. So this is the play icon here, as you can see. So this is the icon. I'm just going to come here and change it to white fill. Now it comes black, but because I'm working with around white, I'm just going to change this to white. I'm just going to change the selection color, not the fill, but the selection color. Please take note. I'm going to change the selection color to white, and I have this. And I told you most time when it comes to icon, I love to work. 24 is like a more reasonable size of icon to work with. 24 is like a more reasonable size of icon to work with. So I'll just change this to 24. Enter. Yeah. So I'm just going to come here to see. So this is what you can do just to check the height I used. from here to here. Okay, just try to centralize this. Remember, I told you we're working with it, so going to come back here. Put on my grid. Please always work with your grid. Always work with your grid. So just put on my grid and make sure that this is on a grid line. You can see whenever it's on the line, it shows this red line. So you can see it's on the line. I need to make sure that the side this thing is also the same way. So one, two. So this is see eight here, eight here. See? So your work is well aligned. So this is what I have here. The play button. And what else do I have aside that? I also have the name hip hop. So I'm just going to go to my text, click on this and write hip hop. So this is hip hop. I'll change it to color white. This color white. Then I'm going to drag this. This is quite big. I'm going to make it 14. Yeah. So I'm going to just drag this to this. Easy. Go to shift, move it. So that means they are on the same, and same line that way. And I'll come here and check what I have here. 5, 6, 7, 8. So now this is it. Now this is it. So if you check, you see 8, 8. Beneath and by the side, they're both 8, 8. So that's what I want. Now I'm just going to duplicate this for all of the cards. I'm going to do the same thing. So what I love to do is I just pick on this, go to my shift, pick this. I just drag it to this side. I'm just going to drag it and just check to make sure that, it's same thing that I want, same place I want it to be. So I go to my hip hop 1, 2, 2. Now I can check. You can see it's 8. Distance is 8 pixels. So that's what I want. And I can now change this from hip hop to blues, for example. So now I have blues here. So the same thing, you're just going to repeat the same thing for every other cards, just pick your. So let me move the grid so you can see it. Yeah, see where we are now. So the last thing I'm going to work on now is the navigation bar and the home indicator. That's like the last thing they were done with this design. So for the navigation bar, you can see it's just a rectangle. I started with a rectangle of a frame, sorry. So this frame is of 375 by 80. So that was like how I started. So I'm just going to come to my frame, click on frame, just try and drag on your mouse. Just this comes out. So just make sure you choose the with an height one 375 by 80. This is my frame now. I'm trying to check if there was anything done. Nothing was done. So this is my frame. Next thing I'm going to try and bring in my home indicator. Now my home indicator, I used a triangle. Now you can decide to go and pick it as an icon key, but I did design mine myself with a normal triangle. I just came here, I went to triangle. I drag on this. I already have like a specific size I use for my home indicator. I'm just coming here to check 120 by 5. So I just have come here, change this to 120, change this to 5. Then I'll add a radius of 5 to it just to make the edges, curve, not looking so sharp. Okay, I think I used 10, so I'm going to come here and change it to 10. Yeah. Next thing I'm going to check. I think this add the color. Yes, it's add the color of nav bar. I already saved it as my one of my design my color style, sorry. So I'm just going to come to my fill and go nav bar. Yeah, this is my nav bar. So I'm going to bring this in now. I'm just going to drag this into my nav bar. Now there's like a distance, between and all the stuff. You can just come here to check, in case if you're wondering. I use my alt. Okay. So I'm just going to come here and make sure that it's now. If you remember when I mentioned that that design was not the best of designs, but because I'm just trying to recreate that design, I just want you guys to see how I'm going to recreate that exact design. And that's what I'm doing. That's the next thing I'm going to need now is my icons. I have my home icon, explore, trend, chart, and profile. I'm just going to quickly get this so I can put them in and we're done with this. So I got them from Iconly. I love Iconly icons because it gives this sleek and this looking really pretty. So I'm just going to go to Iconly to quickly import all this. I go to my plugins, I go to Iconly and I start looking for those icons. Remember, I use them in their lined. We have the light and the bold. I use them in the light form, aside from the explore that was in the bold form. So this explore, since I'm seeing it now, I'll just pick it so I don't forget. So here we go. It comes in. When it comes in, next thing I'm going to change this to light. So I'll see them in their light form. Next thing I want is my home icon. Okay, I even saw this chart. Let me just click on this chart now that I'm seeing it. So my chart has come in. The next thing I'm going to take is the okay, I'm seeing I'm just trying to take them the way I'm seeing them just so okay, so I'm seeing my home. When my home is in, it's remaining my trend and my profile. So remaining my trend. Okay, this is my trend. Yeah, I just picked it in and my profile. This is my profile. Now I currently have very limited icons, you can see. Sometimes you can just brush through easily. That's why I don't really have to go and start searching because I know I'll just brush through it easily. So that's all for Iconly. I can cancel this. And these are all the icons I use. See them here. Yeah, so now I'm just going to put them into my design. Then I'm done. It's that easy. So I told you I love to work with 24. So I'm just going to start doing that now. To change this, come here, go to your clip and change this to 24. So this is like all the icons I need. Then I'm just going to quickly write their name beneath them because I'm trying to make it pretty easy. So just write their name and group it, write the name and group. So you know the next thing to do is just to apply auto layout. So this is my word, this is my profile. Just go to my text, my text pops out and I just type profile. My profile should be in let me see the size I used for this. I used 12 for that. So I'm just going to come here, change that in 12. You see? My design is flowing, so it's 12. I'll change to regular because I really don't want it to be so pronounced. Then color. Okay, I'm going to work on color after now. So let me just leave it as it is. I'm going to work on the color. So I'm trying to ensure so the spacing between should be, I think we're working in multiples of 8. Just add your auto layouts, makes it easy and add the auto layout to it. And just make it. We're working up to 8. So 8 starts with 0, 8, like that, like that. So add auto layout to all of this. I'm still going to arrange this before then just add auto layout just so that you right click, add auto layout. So auto layout gives it equal spacing in between. That's the beauty of auto layout. So you get to have equal space in between. So you can say that okay, I want because home is always like the first thing you see on your nav bar. So you can just drag this home to this place. Is that easy? Probably I want my explore to come next. So I can just drag my explore. Sorry. I'll just drag my explore to this place. It's pretty easy. Probably I want my to drag my start to this place. It is that easy. So the next thing I'm going to do is basically Autodesk is going to be based off on this because I want to make sure that it's fitting into this frame. So I'm going to put it in first before I use Autodesk. But before then, I'm going to apply a background blur to this because I'm trying to create that same effect you have there. So I'm going to click on this. Yes. When I go to effects, I'm going to click on this drop down and make it to be in background blur. Yeah. So that's in my background blur. I used a particular level of distance. So I'm just going to go and check it out, just make sure that so I have 70.15 below. My blur was in 70.15. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I have 70.15. Yeah, so that's that. Trust me, you're going to be impressed. So I'm going to now move this inside of this frame. Yeah, make sure it's well seated. Now change the color because the color is not it. It's not it. So this particular one, I'm going to change the color first to white. Yeah, but I want this particular explore because that's like the icon. That's like the highlighted one. You can see it here. So I want this particular one to be red. So I'm going to move it to red. Yeah, so something like this. That's like my primary color already. So now I'm going to bring this into my design so you can see the beauty. You can see how it, when it was outside, you didn't see it well, but now see how it's looking. So yeah, that's about that. I really don't want this, make sure this is centralized within this frame, such a way that when you click on your alt and you check 14, when you click on your alt and you check just beneath here, it's same thing. So then next I'm just going to add like a corner radius to this whole screen. So I'm going to add 40 as my corner radius, and look at this. Look at this. So yeah, that was how I was able to create this frame, this particular screen, this explore screen on my Figma. I'm going to leave it to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be leaving the Figma link to this design in the description box so you can have access to this, and get it. I'm also going to try and make sure that I bring out the images the way I did and probably just place them up. Or probably you could also go and look for yours and use any image you want. You don't necessarily have to use this. But remember, whenever you're designing, make sure your design and the images you're using for your design is within the context of what you design. Don't use something that is off key. So you get my point. It was about a music um app, and that was why I made sure my images were surrounded, in the within the genre of music and the rest. So pay attention, just do it. So yeah, I think I've come to the end of this video where so I mentioned I was going to teach you how I was able to create this my color style here. Let me just quickly do that. So for example, I'm trying to create the color style into this my rectangle. I just draw my rectangle and I decide to pick any color. Just fill it in with any color, for example. Now, and I want to make this my color style and save it. So I know that here's the colors I'm working with. So I'm going to click on that rectangle that has a color. You see here, I'm going to go to this style, click on style. When you click on style, then click on this plus icon, create style. It's telling you to create style. Click on that create style. Then this pops out. Now they're asking you to name this file, this particular color. So just name it anything you want. Probably I can name it Esther, for example. I'm just saying, but use like I use because I've used primary colors already. You can use primary colors, secondary color, and the rest. So you can also give it a description if you want. For Esther, then you go to create style, and this is it. Esther is already part of your color style. So that's how you're able to create color style on your you want to learn on Figma. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, share my video to as much persons as possible so I can reach, a wider audience. And let me know what you think about this video.